last week for Dragon Month. We have 2 movie reviews coming up. We have a top 10 evil dragons coming up. And then finally, history of dragons. This video, we're going to start with a movie review. And this one, we're going to review Dragonslayer. Okay guys, welcome back. So Dragonslayer, a old classic movie, and for those of you who are my age, you remember when this movie came out, the special effects were state of the art at the time. Of course, now we look back, the special effects have been dated, but nonetheless, it's still a very good story. And this movie, the story is about a sorcerer's apprentice named Galen, and obviously his teacher, his master, Ulrich, a sorcerer, and he's learning from Ulrich. Ulrich is very old, and a group of people come from a kingdom to seek Ulrich's help because he has slain dragons before, he knows about dragons, and they look to him for help. This group is led by a boy named Valerian, and basically Ulrich takes the job, okay, and he's very old. Obviously his apprentice is going to help him, but the problem is that regardless, Ulrich cannot make the travel to the kingdom. He's too old, he can't walk it. And then to top things off, a character named Tyrion arrives as well, and he doubts Ulrich. Now, Tyrion's from the kingdom as well. He's one of the king's guards, and he doubts Ulrich's ability to not only get to the kingdom, but to even slay the dragon. So Ulrich decides to run a test to prove to Tyrion that he's more than capable. So he tells Tyrion, he gives him a dagger, and he says he stab him, and he does like a little hex or a little spell on the dagger. Meanwhile, his apprentice is up trying to save him. He shuts the doors. Ulrich does. He shuts all the windows and the doors magically. And Tyrion stabs him. And Ulrich dies. He's dead. So, and that's right in the beginning of the movie. From there, the story takes off as Galen takes over and he attempts to slay the dragon. And if you've never seen the movie, I encourage you to see it. It's a really good movie. You know, this movie is it's very classic. You know, it's very classic. The thing about this movie that is very effective is the way they build up to the dragon. To me, it's almost perfect because during the events of the movie, you see the dragon, maybe the head, maybe the tail, things like that, as the lottery. And there's this lottery in the kingdom where every, I believe, season, they're supposed to take a girl, a virgin, a young virgin, and sacrifice her to the dragon. This was a deal made by the king so that way the dragon wouldn't destroy the kingdom. So every time, I think maybe once or twice, they show a girl who's being sacrificed, and they'll show the dragon, but they don't show the whole. They'll show the head, they'll show the tail, and stuff like that. And progressively throughout the movie, you see more and more of the dragon. And I think that's just great. It's so done. It's done so well. Later on, when Galen finally decides to go in there and try and attempt to slay the dragon, that's when you kind of see the dragon in full force. But again, you don't see it doing some of the things we love, like flying. It does breathe the fire, but you know, it's different. There's also an attack on a village that you get to see that, again, it's more of a tease. You know, you see the dragon flying by, but you never get to see it good enough. Now, again, you have to take into account, if you're going to watch this movie now for the first time, the special effects are so dated. It's so dated. You can clearly see what parts are poor. I don't want to say poor CGI attempts. I guess what they were limited to at the time. But to give you an example, when he's attacking the village, you see the village on fire, you see fire being shot down, you see people running, but when the dragon flies by, it's just a still, separate picture of a dragon. And you can clearly tell it is, and that's unfortunate. But at the time they came out with this movie, boy, it was the best thing since sliced bread, I tell you. And it's a good tale. As the movie progresses, we find that Valerian is not a boy, but a girl in disguise. And she loves Galen, she falls in love with Galen. Galen falls in love with her, but he believes that, you know, he's struggling to defeat this dragon. Finally, he figures out that Ulrich casted a spell to be returned by his ashes being dumped in the river of fire, which is in the dragon's den. And then Ulrich goes and they work together to take down the dragon. Just a phenomenal movie, a nice fairy tale, a little bit violent. There's some violent, some graphic. This movie, if I'm not mistaken, was PG-13, probably would have been rated R. Because there's one scene where they show a girl pretty much being eaten, and you know, her foot gets bitten off, and I was like, holy shit, I don't remember that. I was like, wow, that's pretty graphic. That would be R these days. Not to mention they showed some nudity. So these are things that now are just automatic R. But back in the day, this was PG-13. So go figure, times change, right? So, but the practical effects are phenomenal. I mean, they did such a great job with the dragon, developing the dragon, the eyes, things like that. Ian McDermott was in the movie. He was actually good. He played a priest. Isn't that amazing? Emperor Palpatine playing a priest? But he was very short-lived movie, scene for him, or scenes, I should say. He wasn't in the movie very long. But again, this is a really fun movie. It's a classic movie. It's not entirely too long. And a lot of familiar faces, you know. You'll see this movie and be like, hey, I know him. So that's another cool thing. And this, again, just the magic that's used, you know, by the sorcerers, it's not overbearing. Very similar to like Lord of the Rings, where in Lord of the Rings, a lot of people say, hey, how come Gandalf didn't use that much magic? But, you know, in a movie like this, you know, fantasy movies where you have wizards and sorcerers, you don't want to overpower them with throwing fireballs and doing crazy shit. But he did enough that he could challenge the dragon, but he wasn't overpowered to the point where the dragon couldn't kill him. But it was a very, very good movie. If you have not seen it, I still recommend it, even with the dated special effects. It is a good tale. It is a classic movie. One of the best dragon movies out there. Verminthax is the name of the dragon. He was awesome, very terrifying, and boy, when he wanted revenge, he went out and got it. I'll tell you that right now. But Dragonslayer, one of the best dragon movies ever made, in my opinion. Once again, if you have not seen it, go check it out. Until then, that is it for this review. This is Rob signing off for ETN, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Take it easy.
Thank you for watching ETN. Don't forget to comment, share, and subscribe. Join the nation's Facebook page to meet other subscribers or visit ETN's Facebook page and Twitter page. Links for all are in the description.
Hey guys, this is Rob, this is ETN, this is the last week for Dragon Month. We have 2 movie reviews coming up, we have a top 10 evil dragons coming up, and then finally, history of dragons. This video, we're going to start with a movie review, and this one, we're going to review Dragonslayer. Okay guys, welcome back. So Dragonslayer, a old classic movie, and for those of you who are my age, you remember when this movie came out, the special effects were state of the art at the time. Of course, now we look back, the special effects have been dated, but nonetheless, it's still a very good story. And this movie, the story is about a sorcerer's apprentice named Galen, and obviously his teacher, his master Ulrich, a sorcerer, and he's learning from Ulrich. Ulrich is very